Hey, real quick before we get started, since recording the main segment of this video, the deck builder has actually been updated for BT16, so you guys can do a good amount of deck building with BT16 and everything else before that. And also, I did put some recommended lists for that on my website. You can click it here on the BT16 decks, and we have some builds by Risu and DigiPanda that they've been testing and doing videos on as well. So that is the, make sure to check out the website. I hope you guys appreciate it. If you have any feedback, make sure to use it on the feedback button. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.
Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and it's been quite a minute since I've put the Digimon Card Game title in one of my videos, but I'm joined with Risu here to help me out. I'm a little bit removed from the scene, but I do want to just, commit to saying that I really do love the Digimon Card Game. I really want to help the community any way that I can, and even when I don't have all the time that I can do to, be on top of the meta or just play games and everything else, I do want to be a resource for y'all for that. So one, I do want to say just big shout outs to both Risu and DigiPanda. They've been helping me out a little bit on my website and stuff, and just make a lot of content that I just either don't have the time or even just the know of at the moment to make. So Risu, I do appreciate that for both y'all.
And no, it's dope. It's dope. And 3 card games is definitely too much for one man, I think. Like you're already on One Piece. One Piece is obviously the big card game, and then Dragon Ball, you've started with Dragon Ball. Probably Dragon Ball is a big passion for you. So it just kind of made sense that something had to go for you, and it ended up being Digimon, but we were able to pick it up for you. So
yeah, and
easy peasy.
I've been keeping my eyes on the format, and part of the reason we're making this video is that my favorite deck probably in this game in general was Magdamon Armor back in BT8, and now that BT16 is kind of like the remix of a lot of that stuff, it's caught my eye. So we'll probably play some games. We'll probably do a stream with the new online client as well that the community has. So I think that's really cool. And if I was to use that online client, I'd be able to use my new deck builder here, which we've spent a lot of time putting Digimon into this one. It's still being worked on right now, but part of the reason I want to make this video is saying, all the the deck list that we do on my website as well, because you can go here, go to tournament deck list, and bam, we still have this pretty up to date for what it is. And with BT16 coming out, I know you guys want some of those deck lists as well. So we're going to be updating, adding BT16 to this as well. But we have imports, we have exports, and there's a little bit more work than we were expecting to, but we're happy we got it out. And if you guys want to also, again, go to online client, you can just export text, go right from there, get tournament deck list straight from here into the client for you to test. And I think that's a really helpful tool for you all as well. But
please use it. It saves us so much time. It saves us so much time.
If you have any feedback, we also have this button. You can click there, let us know what you like, what you don't like. If there's any issues, we had to import like 1,000+ cards, so no doubt some of them didn't get imported correctly, but I'm really committed to being a resource for this community still. And I hope you guys still see it as that. I hope it's useful for you all as well. So if you have any feedback, let me know. I'd love to hear it, but let's get into this video. So again, Risu's been great and very helpful, and DigiPanda, but he will be very, very helpful for this video because, again, it's a little bit out of the meta. And even setting up for it, like, Risu is definitely locked in. You're ready for BT16, aren't you?
Oh my God, we've been in BT15 for too long, man. I feel real bad for Europe because they don't get this on time like we do. So, like, my hearts go out to them. But we've been stuck in 15 for a while, so I cannot wait for 16 to just touch new cardboard, man.
Yes, I completely understand that. One Piece is a little bit in there. It's been one leader in One Piece has been very good for a long time, and they announced that it was going to get banned, but like 3 months early, which I think hurt how long that we really found out how long 3 months is enduring that. But
man,
again, it's not like Digimon's not going to enter another tier 0 format though, right? No way.
It's interesting. I mean, you might as well put your boy up there. You said his name. He's the boogeyman of the format. Definitely the best deck. And like everyone's talking about it. I'm not convinced that it's super problematic yet. It's the best deck.
Yeah.
But how bad will it be? I'm not convinced yet. I don't think it's tier 0 quite yet. There are definitely ways in Digimon. There's so many ways to win at this point that things are going to top. Like you could easily argue, like Mirage was the best deck. Numemon was the best deck last format, and like we saw so many decks, and I just don't see how. Digimon's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just so many decks have a way to win in Digimon that not a single deck could.
Yeah. And someone is my contribution to the website a lot of times is making the pie charts. And two things. One, all the One Piece pie charts, there's like 4 or 5 characters in them, right? Digimon is like 10, which is fantastic. However, every one of those slices is another 10, 15 seconds. So I'm like, oh, 10 topped, huh? All right, I gotta, put them all there and stuff. But so
cut them out.
I will take the L on that one and spend more time on the graphics. But it does seem like a win for the Digimon community. And in comparison, it definitely feels like there's more variety in this game, which is, I think, really cool and healthy in that way. So, but going into this tier list, we kind of cheated. We already put the top one at the top there, but we have a good amount of archetypes that are either new or got a good amount of support from BT16, which we're going to talk about first. And then we do have a knowledge of just decks that did well in BT15 due to eggmanevents.com. And with that, we're going to talk about some of these other archetypes. Generically, the tiers are underneath tier 1, but tier 1 should top, tier 1.5 can top, and then tier 2 it may top. If we don't mention a deck, it's in tier 2 or lower generically. I'm again out of the format a little bit, so if there's any archetypes that I completely missed, let us know in the comments. We'll let you know.
Prove us wrong too. If you really have a feeling for a deck, just take it to tournament and top with it, and then I could take the video for top 16. I'll take the L, man. Just prove me wrong. I'm so excited for that.
Comment on in the video right now, and then when you make the video on it, we'll bring the comment up. Is this like May 2024? I'm going to top with this deck you didn't put on the list, and then be like, all right, here he is. So, but
yeah, absolutely. I live for that. But yeah, we can just start. I mean, we just start with tier 1 and work our way down, or just work our way from the pictures.
We have a good amount of, again, like newer support decks. We have like the Terriermon, we have the red yellow Jet or Leviamon, we have the new Kaustinen. This is just going to be all our bunnies all together, because I think that archetype is pretty diverse for what it can be. But we're going to have that, and then also like Leviamon, or the Imperialdramon. I was going to put Imperialdramon. We can maybe even start with this, but you said like the 5-drop is really what puts this deck together, right?
Absolutely. I mean, back in beat, so we'll just start with Paladramon. It's the tier 1, and then another thing that defines tier 1 to me is definitely decks that have a solid answer for Magnamon X. If you don't have a reasonable way to out the boss monster, which is kind of hard when the boss monster says I'm immune to everything, but there are ways around it. You can go wide, you can go fast, you can just attack enough times where it is not relevant, and that's where tier 1 kind of sits. So Paladramon, just like when the starter decks came out, a lot of the power is going to be in your level 5s and just getting into your level 5s. Your level 6s, your Dragonmons, your Paladinmons tend to be like a little bit of icing, especially now we have access to the aces, where you're just kind of acing and trying to do battle tricks to your opponent. So yeah, but Paladramon is going to be tier 1. It's just good, and it's fast. It's got all the same support. It's got 16 decks of support, sets of support.
Yeah, for sure. And we also, there's a new keyword with this, right? Is it and so I forgot the name of it immediately, but what's the actual name of the
Partition? So Partition, if your Digimon, like it rests on all the level 5, so you'll see with like black yellow the Shakuamon, and the yellow red Sylphimon, and the Paladramon, and Dino B, which is red purple, which we'll talk about that card later. They all have Partition, so if your Digimon would be deleted by one of your opponent's effects, or if your Digimon would be removed from the battle area, you get to essentially play out both level 4s used to make that DNA. Notably, not by battle, so that's not necessarily an answer to Magnamon X, since they can block you often. But notably, DP deletion will still proc Partition, because it says when this Digimon would be removed from the field, not necessarily by like an effect or something.
Okay, cool, interesting. Yeah, because other Bandai card games I play, it would not get that kind of protection, so that's interesting for that. It will recognize and get around like the DP reduction. So cool. Yeah, I can see that being great. And then obviously, if it survives, you can just DNA again next turn if you have another level 5. And obviously, good thing it's not by battle though, right? Can you imagine just like Paladramon goes in?
Just no matter what, you get your 4s out. Yeah. And then another key point is you have to have both level 4s in the stack for Partition to trigger. You can't have just one. So if you didn't DNA, you're kind of struggling on that keyword a little bit.
That's fair. So Cool. All right, we got them there. Let's go next to these guys. You think this is also tier 1 as well, or?
Gora, I think it might be. I'm not as much of a believer as everybody might. A lot of people might be. So 1.5 is probably where I'd be. Collision. We have a new keyword with this deck too. So Alphamon also. So Dorumon and the X antibody, Black X antibody, whatever you want to call it, has had support for a while now. Slowly getting things through Doragora, through Alphamon. So we have a nice base to just build this deck. But now with Collision, you're able to just attack and then give your opponent, or your entire opponent's board will receive blocker, and they have to block with something. I'm not actually, I should have updated myself on what the ruling is for Magnamon X's immunity towards being forced to block in the scenario. Is the player the one that's forced to block, or is the Digimon forced to block? This kind of
I would guess as someone, you can blame me because I've been removed a little bit from the community, but I'm thinking it affects the player, because the player
right, like that's what
that's what I understand,
yeah.
but I could be wrong. You guys can let us know, like frame 1 in the comments, that we don't know what we're talking about.
We just don't know what we're talking. But either way, if Magnamon doesn't have its immunity, being able to attack over it is one of the answers you have to beating the Magnamon Ace. Doragormon with Collision, just being able to be bigger and be attacking into it constantly, is just they're out. So by effect, a deck that has an out to Magnamon Ace in some, or X in some way, it deserves at least a mention in 1.5.
Yeah,
and on this list, and so much support that it just got. So.
And I think we're going to continue saying that's going to be a common phrase, I think, for the rest of this. When we have a deck that is understood to be more present than everything else, you have to be aware of that matchup. And if you have a deck that has a positive matchup into it and then an even spread everywhere else, I think it has a really good chance as well.
Right. And then the red yellow partitions probably tier 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the cards read well, and then Valkyrie. Everyone loves how Valkyriemon could be played off of Lord Nightmon. It's our first yellow level 6 that can be playable in Lord Nightmon, which everyone's trying to find a way to abuse it, either by using just the red yellow partition in general, and using that base to facilitate Lord Nightmon plays, go wide. Going wide is definitely a way to get around Magnamon X, and then just having aggression that way. DP reduction is always good, so it'll be interesting. I'm not a believer. It's mostly on here because it is part of the new set, and we should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is obviously a different set, but like Sylphimon was like the worst armor when it was in BT8, right? Like very clearly.
Very clearly.
And I mean, it didn't have like the protagonist protection that these guys did. So obviously it's off on a bad foot, but it's a real shame because like red and yellow I think has some like really good
it was the original security control, right? Those colors just went so well together for such a long time.
Yeah. So it'd be cool to see if they did stuff. Again, like I haven't even, we're kind of not going to talk about it a lot, but there's like so many like multicolored rookies and champions that can make some really interesting lines because of the flexibility of those now, and
right,
because of that there can be some really wonky plays. So
yeah, and this set introduced so many rookies for that too. Like just like so many off color. We have green purple Wormmon, we got red blue Vmon for all this stuff. They definitely went out of their way to make that true.
Yeah, so that's I mean, that I was doing that in BT8 where I'm just like, what's the most creative armor stack that I can make? What's the best Chimeramon inheritable stack that I can make? So I'm behind on it, right? I'm sure people have already discovered most of it, but it's that kind of stuff is really cool. And not a lot of, most decks are like, this is the best stack because these are the ones that they printed, because this is a 3, 4, 5 line they told you to make. And armor's flexibility in that I think is one of my favorite qualities for it.
Yeah, and then to continue, arguably probably sitting at the best green deck in general. Like this, green has always been like this amorphous blob of like really good cards. I think it falls in 1.5. I'm not. So Time Kabuteru is the new boss monster on the market. It's gonna be it's the whole Insectoid line. We just got off the backs of BT, I think, BT 15, where we got all of the all of the easy support where if my Digimon is suspended, we are immune to all of our opponent's Digimon effects.
Yeah.
And then being able to redirect through Ace, Mega Kabu Terriermon. There's just a lot here in Insectoid that's going to be really good. And then this boss monster just capstones it along with the Grand Kawagamon Ace on top of it. There's just a lot of board control and like just being able to burn security as kind of Green does through battle. It's just a lot here. But it's hard to say if they were going to be able to do that consistently enough to beat Magnamon X. Is like they just don't have a tried and true play that gets me over there every time, it feels like. So I could be wrong, but
Green's always had kind of the issue where it has like a really, really good perfect stack, but if you do not find the cards, and with Digimon too, like to draw more, you have to go up your stack. And if you have to use suboptimal cards in your stack, then it just feels bad, and then you have to wait for their next one to be able to build it. So I don't think they've beaten that curse, right? Like we can go back to Grandest Kawagamon, where like that deck lived and died off of finding its level 4. Yeah.
And if they could find their level 4, quite often they won that game, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Just not finding it. It was the best answer to Black or Gray back then, right? Like it was.
Yeah. I agree. So I was without much testing, obviously. I think that's fair. But I do think it's a color and deck that will be able to find pieces, but have the pieces, you have to find them instead. So two more though. We're gonna go to this is kind
bunnies.
This is gonna be kind of just all the bunny, like Terriermon stuff. Terriermon has like 3 different lines right now, right? Just a big blob of them. So we're not gonna kind of focus on any of them in particular. But just the idea that Terriermon has a lot of cards right now, a lot of good synergies, and we got a new boss monster, which I think you mentioned the deck was kind of missing out on a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, we saw it top here and there. Once the Star decks came out, we saw a clear identity for the Bunnies deck, and like it brought the deck a lot together. But the problem was their boss monster was Mega Gargomon Ace, and I still don't think we're at a point where Ace level 6s are quite like, this is my boss monster, this is my win condition, this is what's winning me the game. They're combat tricks still, they're not necessarily pushing for game, and they also come with a comeback cost. If I deal with this stack, you're going to get punished for it severely.
For sure.
So they were missing that boss monster, that true boss monster that let them play the game. And even back in Digimon historically, you want kind of like a fallback level 6. Mega Gargomon was always that fallback, but with Rapidmon X, his like just preventing your opponent from going wide is just so invaluable. Just when this Digimon is suspended, a minus 5k 4k blanket to the board is just disgusting. And then it's everything the deck was missing. So we're definitely going to see it's I don't actually, I surprisingly don't have much to say. It's aggressive, it's all the bunny stuff, it's got alliance, it's got immunities when you play off of Rapidmon X or the level 5 Rapidmon, and then Rapidmon X just digivolves on top and is able to do everything you want it to do.
Yeah. So I think you're right, and I think also just like Rapidmon generically, like the old one was one of the best cards for armor. Like yellow hybrid can steal the card to be able to get the defense properties from it. So again, like I think armor is like a really good deck to support with level 6s, because most of the good decks kind of already just capped out at level 4s and 5s. They did have level 6s, but to give them like actual like good level 6s to cap out the deck, it's obviously the support's really good because Magna is going to go insane. So what do we got? We got D-Brigade left.
We got D-Brigade. So D-Brigade also got some support this set. They win tier 1 for longest card name in the game.
Yeah, if we went to like card name, it'd be way up here.
Oh my god, this card it's ridiculous. And Digipen is
databases by how long the name is, but
it's tier 2. We're not seeing D-Brigade top anything. Like we saw it kind of on the fringes in BT14 when the decks were kind of predominantly introduced, and it just hasn't gotten anything that like really changes, like helps it out. Like it's not getting that one thing it was missing, because D-Brigade's weakness is it has such clear answers. Death Axmon is still a card that we are still playing in multiple decks, and when I play against D-Brigade, I hard mulligan for Death Axmon every time. It just answers them completely. They can't get around that card most of the time. And then Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode is a very popular card And Magnamon X and Rapidmon X can run those cards.
Yeah, and just those guys by themselves prevent the deck from, like Rapidmon specifically, right? Just goes away. Yeah.
And it's just DP reduction, and with the relevance of yellow, and it's just tough. They just haven't had a place to be. So tier 2 is the best they really get.
Gotcha. Yeah, which is a shame. I know it's a favorite archetype for a while, but from what I've seen, I don't think it's going to be doing a lot of topping. But maybe one will sneak in every once in a while.
Maybe it's possible. Like again, Digimon is just that game.
Yeah. Well, so these are what? These are like the main decks that got, like, I think, like a good amount of support, right?
Oh, Fenrir got some support as well. As long
this one, yeah, we can talk about that real quick.
Fenrir and Grace Nova, I guess, got support as well. Yeah.
We can. So these maybe will transition to like half decks that got like.
Yeah. So Mirage was like a half deck.
Yeah, because we
Vaccine's a half deck, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll
that's about it, I think.
I think
Fenrir.
Yeah.
Fenrir got so much stuff this set. We got a new level 5, the red purple Fenriloogamon is probably the biggest card everybody's using. It's going to be a tier 1 deck for the record. It's just its clear answer is I get to be bigger than Magnamon X, and I will attack. And if you choose to block, you lose your boss monster.
Yeah.
Fenriloogamon through Alliance and summoning from the grave, we're able to get plus 4K gets us to 16, plus another 6 gets us to 24. Yeah. We could easily get to, or 22. Yeah, we can easily get over any kind of DP gain that Magnamon X is capable of, and then we just, like that. That's it. We could they either block or they lose, and then they lose the boss monster in that.
Yeah. So that makes sense, I think. And as you said, like if a deck has a good matchup into this, it's good. We do have to have some setup for this, right? For it to be able to go off, or do you think the setup?
It does. So that's where like there's a few key cards that have really helped change it, right? So instead of playing Chimeramon, we're now running Dino B, the red-yellow partition card that got introduced this set.
Yeah.
And we run that in adjacent to, because the Dino B allows us to summon free type Digimon from the grave. And give them rush. So we have a new armor in Sethmon, who is a red-purple dark animal, which Fenriloogamon is a dark animal themed deck, and who is also a free. And then also Ukamon, but we haven't mentioned how this set comes with a new rare, a new Ukamon, which has been a very big talking point in this community of like, this card's so generic.
Yeah, we could. I mean, if we were talking about more support cards individually, I think Ukamon is just always present, right? I think that's the way to say it, but
it's going to be around, but it's a free, so uniquely it plays off of Dino B, and so Fenrir is able to take advantage of it like that. The new level 5 allows us to sell up the grave a little faster because we're discarding 2 in a single Digivolution. So it's just good. We're eating good as Fenrir.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I think that makes sense. And it being able to extend your turn, even if it means you're giving your opponent a lot of memory when your turn finally finishes, is still pretty disgusting. Like
it's so good.
I remember, like, I was like a little bit on my way out, and I read this card. I'm like, did they proof? Like, am I reading this right? This is and to say
I think
it's been slowed down, or it's not. I know it was never tier 1, but
my defense for Fenrir will always be that, like, we're not in Digimon. We're not a fan of decks that make big plays and also have the potential to leave you at 1 memory.
Yes.
Whereas Fenriloogamon makes a big play, and at minimum they're giving you 3 memories. So it's like, I did something big. It kind of goes back to the idea of I did a big play, but now you get a lot of memory for it. And if we consider 3 a lot or whatever, it's up to you, but you get the point.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right. Some other decks we do have the Sun and Moon is it like to be called?
Yeah, Dawn and Dusk, Sun and Moon. I feel it got support. It's probably tier 2. We didn't see it do anything in 16 or 15, I should say, or in Animal Coliseum when it came out. But the key point that I want to bring up is the deck suffered from its level 5 and rookie count, and that is exactly the support we got in this set through the new Gaogamon and the new Agumon. And so the consistency stonks on this deck just went way up higher. And when this deck pops off, it is strong. It's good. It can clear Magnamon X's through its red cards. It can be more defensive than Magnamon X's through its blue cards. It has a lot of everything. So I would not be surprised if this, it can top just because of the new consistency it's got, but it could also just not be quite good enough. It's up in the air. I'm not convinced one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm not. I will say of the decks, this is probably the one I know the least of, in particular, outside of I guess some of the newer stuff. But yeah, I will take your word. I have nothing to say. Risu is correct. I believe him.
Sweet.
But we were talking about Gaogamon, and another deck kind of likes to use that boy, right?
Yeah, no, MirageGaogamon, probably tier 1, absolutely. It probably comes out of BT15 along with Numemon as the best deck of the old format, and it didn't really get worse.
Sure.
It's really fast, it's really strong. It got a new level 4 in inheritable jamming Gaogamon, and if you've been following the deck list for Mirage is doing a lot of deck building just so they can maintain jamming.
Yeah.
They value that jamming card so much, and so having it on an archetype level 4 is so good. And we're probably still going to see Betamons in the deck. We're still going to probably see weird Bukamon ratios just to see that jamming. But the way it gets around, Magnamon X is either being faster through multiple swings, or there are cards that it can run, like some old cards where it was a blue card that said Digimon
the plugin
blue plugin, yes, can't be blocked. And so if you were able to run that card, we could just ignore Magnamon X entirely and go for game. And then there's another card that could potentially come up is Can't Stop Fighting or something. It was a blue card that said Digimon can't die in battle.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. It's very old. It's like set 2, right?
It could be a niche, but I would not be surprised if Mirage found a way with its draw power to use that card.
For sure. Yeah, Blue's always found time to squeak out a little bit of extra memory and get extra card draw, so you can run some more of those expensive techs. And Mirage is, I think, definitely worth it, especially if we have more consistent jamming on the deck and everything else. Yeah, it's gonna still be very, very strong. He's consistently one of the ones that I make. Like he almost tops like 2+ every regionals.
Every event.
Yeah, he's very good right now. I guess that's really it for. Did Yellow Vaccine got some new stuff too, right?
Yeah, Yellow Vaccine kind of off the back of Magnamon X and Rapidmon X kind of makes it automatically tier 1 because it could use both our really good secret rares from our BT16 set. There is conversation of which Magnamon X deck is better. Is it the blue armor version? Is it the vaccine version? There's talks of Messenger of Hope is too good of a card. This Patamon is too good of a card.
Yeah.
Look, it can run both our secret rares. So it's definitely tier 1. I don't want to talk about whether or not it's blue is better or vaccine's better. It's just they're all tier 1. They can all top the deck pretty easily.
Gotcha. All right. So I mean, this just like a subset of like these other two decks, right? And
yeah, exactly.
Do you think it's kind of like a spot where like the other decks are just better, so they run more, but if Yellow Vaccine was run, it'd still be well? It's just people upgrade to the armor versions, or do you think it'll be run in tandem?
I think so Vaccine in general just makes they get the Magnamon X as a top end no matter what. So Vaccine just kind of, instead of running I don't know what were they running, Magnadramon, Seraphimon, Shadow Seraphimon, sure. Instead of those cards we just put in Magnamon X. We change up our level 4s to allow for the yellow Magnamons or the yellow Rapidmons because you need to have armor in your inheritables to fully get the value out of these these level 6s. And so it's a very easy change because they're all vaccine, I believe. And so Messenger of Hope, TK, everything just still works, and it's just busted. It's just really good for them.
Gotcha. Well, I guess when we're talking about yellow and security, we can talk about our security control players. And I'm gonna kind of like maybe take a liberty. There's like a couple decks that I think are just gonna be around forever, or at least in some capacity. So I think it's gonna be like I'm just gonna put all 4 of them right here. Unless you think security control needs to be bumped up a little bit, but
no, I think it should just be deleted. No,
but we
it's fair. All these decks are just they do what they do, and they're really good at it. Security control, notably, I think it won our world. So it's just a good deck, a good pilot with a good list, and the right day is going to be able to take the tournament, or just at least top with it. It will always remain as like the skill check deck of Digimon entirely as a whole. Yeah. Do you know how to properly adjust your strategy to deal with security control? Can your deck do that? Is another question you should bring up. But like Security control. They're gonna heal. They can always go to time against you and make a draw, preventing you from even moving forward. So this is deck that's room year round. Hunters still has the best removal in the game. Just punishes you for even playing a tamer or a second body.
Yeah.
And Royal Knights, they have a clear game plan. If they get it off, they can kind of beat any deck. And so they just have a win condition. Leviamon, actually, you can put Leviamon up here too.
Yeah.
Leviamon just Digivolve into Leviamon X, trash 4 or 5 secure, 3 or 4 or 5 security, and win game.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what your security was or what you did in those prior turns. I win.
Yeah.
So
in general, like security control, the exception, but most of these 4 is that, hey, if you had a slow start, I'm sorry, you lost. These decks are, I don't think they have necessarily like the super best top end, but they have a lot of consistency when it comes to it. And if your opponent gives you like a weird amount of memory or like have an off turn, you get very, very hard with these.
Yeah, greatly. And Deva falls under that too. I don't see Deva going anywhere anytime soon. It'll be around. It's a good deck with good boss monsters, and random weird effects that get people all the time. All the level 5s have like a weird effect, and I still don't have them all memorized, and there's 12 of them.
Yes.
So this is going to catch people off guard constantly.
All the time. Well, okay. I think we've got just a couple left. Generically, I think most of these are on the lower end. Do you think Red Hybrid should be... I mean, Red Hybrid is kind of in the same spot, I guess, as we mentioned.
Red Hybrid gets access to the new Ukamon, just like most decks do. Yeah, it's probably going to be can top. We saw it in the beginning of 15. It was really represented, and now it's kind of fallen into the same spot as a lot of other decks. We see one top, maybe it can win. We saw it win in
right? So that's I mean, it has got that capability for sure.
Right, so it's a good deck with a win condition. I do think that it suffers from Numemon X being just such a big wall. It still has a win con against them by just attacking a lot and often, but it can just lose. And Rapidmon X doesn't help that either.
Yeah. What about maybe Gabobond?
Gabobond, again, I mean, off the back of Ukomon's being good, right? It's bigger, but it's not bigger enough. Numemon X is able to get 3k, almost 6k additional DP. Right, it can be a 18k blocker, and if they're running Zubagon Punch, they're even bigger. It gets gross real fast with Numemon X. But I mean, we saw was it true? Oh my God, Primitive Kage do really well with it this weekend in North Carolina. It's a deck. It's getting the new Ukamon. It could do well. It can actually run a high speed plugin with the amount of draw they have, and plenty of tamers to make it facilitate. I mean, they're blue anyway. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But it can.
Unblockable's good.
I think so. Yeah. I think if we're, I mean, man, is there any others we should put in this before we escape the category? Because again, like these are all like, hey, if you let me set up, I have like a really good like turn 3 or 4 aggro prime, then that can get you down to 2 security very quickly, and you have to stabilize or you lose.
Bloom Lord's like that too. That's the thing about Digimon. I feel like Digimon, there's just so many decks. I think it's 1.5 along with the rest of them, and we kind of put Bloom Lord on here as like a generic like
green.
A generic green catch-all, because green players tend to like just play whatever the best version of their color is, whether it's between insects or Bloom. So Bloom's just kind of like an analogous for all the other green-esque decks. And Tyrant, it kind of sits alongside Tyrant. Like I'm not like if they went.
Do you think it should be 1.5 with Tyrant, or do you think it's like a little bit half step below?
It might be a half step below. I think it's too slow nowadays. Rapidmon X is actually an insane counter to Bloom Lord. Actually, no, the more I think about it, that blanket minus 5k DP they can do just for suspending, which that's their whole game plan in the first place. It's just too good. I don't think Bloom Lord has a big chance in a 10-round tournament not seeing that.
Gotcha. Okay, we got 5 left. I'm gonna pick them willy-nilly. Numemon, do you think tier 1?
Numemon's probably the second best deck of the previous format. Gets a new Ukamon, so they can run 8 Ukamons, probably right next to MirageGaogamon in tier 1. A key point here is in Japan, this deck actually came out and became prevalent because as an answer to Magnamon X.
Yeah.
You know, that deck was really dominant in the Japanese meta, and people started playing Numemon. People found out that Numemon was a good deck into Magnamon X, and then the West took over and said, hey, this is just a good deck now. Let's play it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like the story, or like the story of Numemon as a deck. So if it was good enough in Japan, it surely should be good enough here now.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, we might have a little more, you know, future sight than Japan did, because they kind of had to be reactive. Now we can be more prepared for what Numemon does. So
Sure.
there's some give and take there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it hit the scene, like people weren't prepared. It's a goofy deck, right? So like goofy decks are, if your opponent doesn't know the cheese, then your win rate goes up, right? So
absolutely.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to continue to top. Maybe not as consistently as it was in PT15, but definitely still around.
Yeah, and notable, our last 4 decks here kind of are red, and except for our swamp puppy himself. So let's get him out of the way. I think he's tier 2. He was already Leviamon X, and Leviamon in general as an archetype is kind of seeing its way out, even in 15. In 15, I mean, we saw it win our Nationals format. I guess that was Animal Coliseum format. It won over Security Control, but then we went to Nationals, and it was the most represented deck, but ended up falling to Security Control. Mm-hmm. And in 15, it was strong out the gate, and slowly that pie chart slice got smaller and smaller until it wasn't even represented at all sometimes. So it just
got nerfed, right? Because BT14 format at the beginning, we had Partition, right? So that was a big hurt for the deck as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a little bit too expensive sometimes. What would you?
It's just it has expensive plays, and right now the top end of decks really love playing with that memory and have really efficient ways to use that memory against you. So Leviamon is just on its way out, and it didn't really get anything new. Mm-hmm. So it just hurts. It hurts.
And you think, I mean, in like the purple art, like Fenrir is just better, right? I think maybe that's like another connection. Is that
I think Fenrir just has a clear, Leviamon doesn't have a clear answer for Magnamon X as well. I think is a key point where Fenrir does, because Fenrir can get again to 22k or something, 24k, depending on how your stacks line up. Mm-hmm. That easily clears Magna X. Leviamon X is a 14k body, and that's pretty much where it stays. And sure, 3 check is great, but it just doesn't do it at the right time. And also the top end doesn't really play Digimon too crazily. I mean, Numemon does, but Numemon already wants you to be the leader in the first place. It's just not a good time for Levia.
Gotcha. All right. Our last 3, we got Jesmon, we got War Greymon, and we got Shine Greymon. I think War Greymon and Shine Greymon have been like best deck and format in their own times. Jesmon maybe not so as much, but I think these were 3 that you kind of insisted that we talked about a little bit. Yeah,
so right now, my mentality is one of the best ways to deal with Magnamon X is to attack over it. Just, Digimon battle and crash into it and be bigger. And if there's ever a time for that strategy to be good and red to be good, it's now, right? So Red War Greymon and being able to raid into Magnamon X, regardless of its immunities and regardless of blocker or regardless of what they want to do. If you're bigger than it and you can swing into it, it's off the board. Yeah. They armor purge, but they only get 6 of those or 4 of those, 4 copies of it. So you just can win off of clearing their boss monsters. So that's kind of where I'm hoping War Greymon, and I'm proven right. I would put it in 1.5 just because I'm a believer in red right now. And Jesmon even more so. Okay. We'll lump them to. I would almost put.
Right.
I would put it at the top of 1.5, I guess, if we're ordering. I don't know. I don't think we really ordered.
Nah, we'll go back and order it in a second. But I'm all right. This is a Risu tech. I don't know if I can believe you on this one. I've been burned by Jesmon so many times. So many times.
I know, and oh my god, I got my Digifest. I got my Digifest top off of beating Jesmon, and I'll never forget it. I was so happy. Mm-hmm. But Jesmon can use Magnamon X. It's a Royal Knight, and having Jesmon have full immunity for its turn while also summoning all the Sistermons and doing everything 4 or 5 checks. It's just. And it can attack over opposing Magnamon X's at bigger. Oh my god! If it's ever a time for it to be good,
this is your spice take. All right, I'll give you your spice take. I won't take it away from you, but Comments might. We'll see. We'll see. And then Shine, I'm thinking about putting in tier 2, and maybe just to kind of make it more symmetrical. But
I like symmetry.
The minus thing does help, right? To get some of armors if you can be affected for the turn.
Yeah.
But what it can't. Shine doesn't really have an answer to.
No,
Magnemon, right?
Not really. We can burn security. We can kind of go a little wide with our tamers a little bit. The thing it's on here for is I'm continuing the tradition, the meme, if you will, that no matter what format, ever since its introduction, Oceania and Latin America will find a way to top with Shine Greymon.
Yeah.
And that is a powerful effect that they have over the format in their respective regions. It will top for them.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's fair. And again, like I'm like, man, is Shine good? And you're like, no, but they top somehow. So, but again, in the format where you want to be like, battles are more about being bigger, and Shine Greymon's effect is making things smaller. It just doesn't. It's just not compatible as much with it. I think previously, like some decks, like a good way to affect armor was to give it DP minus previously, because you get you get armor purge still, but then you armor purge into a smaller dude, so then it also gets the same minus, right? So I think that's fair. But again, I do not think I've seen this guy's face the last time either, so I definitely will mention it on the tier list. So
I mean, I don't think we have to order it, do we? I mean,
we can. Okay, put your best one. We'll put the best one in the top of each.
Fenrir.
All right. Fenrir is your best.
I love Fenrir. That's my deck. But it's the best deck. I wouldn't play it if it wasn't good.
And all right, the worst one in this category. We'll say like the
worst one in the category, probably Nume. Or maybe it's Pyldra. I don't know. It's either Nume or Pyldra.
I'll put him right there, but we'll say all right. Tier 1.5, best one in this format.
Best one in this category would probably go to either a Tyrant or Jessamon, because this is just kind of the tier where like anything can win if you give it a chance. So like those two decks are the ones that I see like being above, just like, oh, I can win. But it's just like, no, I'm a real deck and I will top. They're the closest to that for sure.
And the worst?
The worst of this tier is security control.
Oh no, don't try to affect the masses. Stop playing the deck. It doesn't work. I assure you.
All right. Then it's Deva. I can see Deva just kind of falling out of favor. It has its clear win conditions, has amazing board control presence, but it does not necessarily have the best answer for Magnemon X. At least not a consistent answer. They have some ways to fool around, but at the end of the day, they might not they might not get over it.
Gotcha. And then tier 2, I won't organize. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
So, cool. Well, honestly, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you hanging out and talking to this. We're nearing the 40 minutes, and I put a 30-minute time limit, so I'm actually okay that it was only like 10 after. But again, I hope you guys took this as more of just like a surface, like almost like podcast talk about this, but. I hope you guys know I still support Digimon. I appreciate all the support.
He really does. We talk all the time about it.
Yeah, and it would be incredibly easy to not put it on my website anymore. It would be so much time to not do that anymore. So I hope you guys.
Oh my God.
Respect that and know that. Even though I don't make as many YouTube videos as much, I do want to do what I can, and I see that support too, and I really appreciate it as well. So. Again, thank you to Risu and DigiPanda. Make sure to follow them. They're putting out great content and helping fill some of the void that I've left with it. And then make sure to check out my deck builder and website again. This will be a work in progress. If you see any errors, have any feedback, see things that you want, let me know. But being able to have an in-house Digimon deck builder, I think has been a goal of mine for a long time, especially even when I was doing more Digimon content, just to have something that I have full control with and be able to make some changes. And most importantly, being able to export deck lists a lot faster was always a priority for me too.
Use it. Please use it. It will save us so much time. Also use the star feature. The star feature is the best thing of the whole.
Here, I'll show real quick. Let me, right here. I'm going to just say Vmon. Guess what? There are like a million Vmons, and they all have alt arts and they all see the same. So like the biggest thing that I enjoy from this is saying, okay, I don't know what Veemon this is. Let's see. Let's go cycle through the all arts. This one's a bad example, but like some of them, like this is a new art.
There
This
you
is
go.
a new art that's, I believe, come out since I've stopped playing. I would not be able to tell you what Veemon this is, and being able to like toggle and be like, oh, this is just a Star Deck 9 with an alternate art. Easy.
And it goes deeper than that. It's every card. I think the one to the left has the most.
Yeah, this one.
Finalist, champion. That one.
Yeah.
So many.
Jamming Veemon has like a.
Oh, the jamming one has so many
printings. Yeah. Just a lot. So that's all right. That's enough of that. But there's features. It's probably going to be changing in the next couple of weeks. Star Deck 16 or set 16 is not there yet. Will be by release is what we're expecting. So you guys can do that. And it does have the universal import or export that we have for this community. So you can export this. You can go into the online client or put into other deck builders if you want. If you guys like other ones, go for it. But we want to make sure that you can import and export to others. So anything else from you, Risu?
No, it was happy to be here.
Yeah, and
Digimon's great.
I appreciate you again carrying the knowledge for it. I would literally not be able to make this video without you, and I hope you guys got something. I appreciate all the support as always, and we'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.